let's get rolling here. So has anyone, is anyone wanting their goal today to actually send out a mail merge?
Did anyone what?
Does anyone actually want to send a mail merge today? Is anyone sending the home show, or you just want to learn how to do it? Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I'll do one for the home show ticket.
Yeah, so the home show tickets probably, so I would do a mail merge with people pretty much every holiday, or at least for the quarterly stats is typically what I would send out with people. So, you know, we get those for every area, and I will send out the HRM one, even if you know the area the person lives in, because then they have to email you back and ask for their area. And I put together some email templates, and the stats one is in there, so you can take a look as well. I'll share them with you all so that you have them. These are typical, some are just templates, but some are mail merges that I would do. The home show mail merge is there. The Easter invitation for the one coming up is there as well. One thing to note when you're doing mail merges is you have to remember it's a mass email. So that person, though, is going to think it's coming directly to them because it will say, "Hi, Katrina," and then the message. However, for the Easter invite, if you're sending this out to your whole database, some people are not going to have kids. So you can't say in your mass email, "Bring your kids," because some of those people, they're not going to have them. So the wording of the email is really important for these because you need to make sure you encompass everyone. So using that example, for the Easter event, what I typically say is, you know, it's a kid-oriented event, so please feel free to bring any family and friends that might be joining you for Easter weekend. So then you're capturing everyone, those people with kids. And for this example, people say to me, "Well, I'm not inviting everyone on my database because not everyone has kids." But it's still a touch point, and the point always for you guys is just to keep your name top of mind, right? That's the number one goal. So even if they don't have kids, they may have grandkids visiting or nieces and nephews, and anytime you have little kids at your house, you're always trying to get them out and find stuff to do. So even if you don't think that people will come, I recommend that you send it out to everyone, not just like a specific pocket of your database, because again, the point is just to keep your name top of mind. So some other scripts I have here. So for those of you who send a newsletter and feature a local business, that's a really good touch point if you haven't talked to people in a while and you have an ad space for a local business, you can ask them for a recommendation. So who would you recommend that I put in for a great local business? Whenever you sort of play off of you know, people's egos a bit and ask for their opinion, they really love that. So this is a good one. Then I found some templates just online for follow-ups that I thought weren't too bad. So first attempt, second attempt. Really, you guys should be doing 6 attempts for leads. So reaching out to people 6 times before you give up on the lead. Okay, seller lead email. Former client email. So this is the stats email that I usually send. So when we do a mail merge for the stats, we just say wanted to give you a quick update on HRM, and we'll use the HRM quarterly stats. I always reference in the script the good news stories. So if sales is up, you talk about sales. You know, if the days on market is lower than last year, talk about that. If days on market is higher than the comparable of the year before, don't talk about that, right? Just pull out the good news stories. So take a look, find those little pieces that you want to talk about, and give them an idea of, you know, we're now in a seller's market, right? It's a great time to be listing a home. Did you want to see the stats for your specific area? Let me know and I can put them together and send your way. They don't know that the office does them, right? They look like a lot of work on your behalf. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. I appreciate you always keeping me in mind for any of your friends or family who may be interested in this info as well. Okay, so those are some scripts that I'm going to share with all of you that are here. So any questions on the different types or topics for mail merges? Okay. So first things first, in order to do a mail merge, you need to have a list of contacts that you're going to merge to, okay? So, excuse me, typically most of you would have an SOI, a sphere of influence, already done, because we encourage that off the get-go here. And so you can use that. How many of you don't have an SOI? Okay, so I will show you, and this will be a good tidbit for even those of you who have one, what I typically do. So when people come to me and say they've never had a database before, these are the places I recommend to build one. So one, go through your phone contacts. Okay, no one ever takes the time to actually go through your phone contacts, and you'll find people, jog your memory on who would be important. Two, Facebook. Okay, go through your Facebook friends, and people always say to me, well, 200 of those people are realtors, right? And then I go on and they have 1,100 friends. Well, 900 of them are not, right? So go through that. Your personal email, and that's what I'm going to show you to export a CSV file. So if you have, like for me, I use a Hotmail account as well. All my junk still goes to my Catsy88 Hotmail account. So if I was building a database, I'd export that address book and say, okay, who haven't I reached out to, or who can I touch base with? And then one, which was just taught to me the other day, actually, for those of you who are experienced, and I've never had anyone who's done this, but Debbie Mitchell started with us from Remax, and she keeps all of her contacts in Paragon. That's the only thing she's used. So we got to then go into Paragon and just export all of her contacts there into a spreadsheet, which is an avenue that I've never looked into. Just I don't use Paragon myself very frequently. So for those of you who have been in the business for a while, you've set people up to receive emails on Paragon, you probably have quite a few contacts in there who may be people they were going to buy and didn't, and good time to reach back out. So I'll show you how to get a spreadsheet, a list of names together first. So if I didn't have an SOI together, I'm going to go to up here and go to my contacts. And this is in any email that you have. Okay. And then, so all of my contacts for Gmail are here. I have a bunch of groups you can see here as well. And then under more is this export button, okay? And that's pretty much even in Hotmail too, same steps. You go to contacts and you can export, if I click export. So I can either export everyone, 566, or if you have groups already set up, you can see, you can just export, but you want to export everybody. It's tedious to build a database in the beginning, but I say just export everyone and filter through, delete the people you don't want. So I'm going to export it, and the version I want to export is a CSV, okay? So a CSV is basically an Excel sheet that's going to download, and I'll open it up and show you. And I'll show you a little trick with a CSV file. So we just went into contacts, export, and I'm going to export these into a Google CSV, and you'll always have that CSV option, okay? Is everyone with me so far? Okay, so now if I go to my downloads and open this, this is what a CSV file looks like, okay? Messy, right? So a trick that I always do to clean it up a little is I'll compose an email to myself and I'll attach that CSV. I'll just name it CSV. Send it. Okay, so now the CSV file is here, and if I click on the attachment, I don't want to download it, don't want to add it to my drive, I just click on it. Do you see up here, open with Google Sheets? That's what we're going to do the mail merge from, and it will reformat it for you to look a little cleaner. Okay, it's still not perfect, but I find it reformats it nicely, especially for those of you who are on a PC. CSV files look even uglier than what I just showed you. It's like all the names separated by commas, and when you email it to yourself and open it into a Google Sheet, it lays it out a lot nicer. So when I do this with people, you see all these blank columns? Okay, short name, occupation, no one ever has that stuff filled out. So I usually just delete all these columns in the middle. So now it looks better, right? So I've got their full name, first name, last name, emails. Okay, so it's all up there. And this is called Google Sheets. So that's what we're going to do the mail merge off of, okay, not an Excel sheet. And Google Sheets is basically an Excel sheet that's attached to your Gmail. Okay, that's all it is.
Sorry, I need to back up a little bit.
Yep.
Because I emailed it to myself, and when I opened up the email to myself,
Yep.
I didn't.
So if you open it, so just go to the email. Don't click on the attachment, click into the email.
Okay.
And then,
Open it.
yep, like that, and see up at the top.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Open with Google Sheets, yeah.
So for Jessica, she was just, instead of clicking on the actual email,
I was being lazy, and I was just clicking on the attachment.
yeah, I don't even know how to get my emails back here. Oh, here. Yeah, so she was clicking on the attachment, but you just have to go in and click right here and then open with Google Sheets. Okay, so this is Google Sheets. What's great about Google Sheets, which is an Excel sheet again attached to your Gmail, is it saves every single second. There's no file save button, which is actually quite, I found it very traumatizing the first time I put a ton of information in there and then there's no save button. And I'm like, you don't ever want to exit out of it, but it does. It saves every single second. So there's no save button. Okay, and to change the name up here, all you do is double click on the name of the file and you can rename it. So you can call it like Katrina's SOI if you wanted to. Okay. So now I have names and emails and everything there. Okay? So, again, you need to have an Excel sheet in Google Sheets in order to do this exercise. So how you go and find that sheet after you open it up. So this is your email. Up here are your Google apps. So you can find your Google Sheet two places. One, your Google Drive, which has everything in it. It has your spreadsheets, your Word documents, your forms, everything. Or under apps, you can go right to the Sheets app. Okay? For you guys, you probably don't have a ton of sheets, right? But for me, if I go in there, there's like 100 Google Sheets in there. So I don't like to go into here because that's not organized for me. But if I go into my Drive, you can make folders in your Drive. So I access it through Google Drive because everything's in folders and organized. But a lot of people typically just like to go to Google Sheets. Yeah, because you'll probably have 5, maybe 10. It's not overwhelming, but everyone's sphere in this office is shared with me. So I like to go into here.
So sorry, Katrina, when you go to the sheets, you can create more than one sheet?
Yep, exactly. So you can do it, Marjan, in Drive here. See, you can do new and see Google Sheets.
And you name it, just whatever.
Yep. Or you can go into your Google Sheets and right here you can start a new one. And they actually have some really great templates in here as well that you can go and look. So someone had asked me, I think for a resume template one time, and if you go into Google Docs, same thing. They have pre-made templates for you that you can just pick and change. And they're nice looking, I find, as well. Okay? So once you have your Google Sheet, you can access it two places. Either in your Drive, it will live there, or again, you can go directly to Google Sheets. It will be both places. Okay? If you're in your Drive, you can also search it. So Katrina's SOI, it's the first one that came up, and I'll click it and it'll pop up there. Okay, does that make sense? So any questions on that? So again, to do the mail merge, you have to have your contacts in the Google Sheet because it is an app that's associated through Google Sheets. Okay? So now we have the contacts. So anytime I do a mail merge with people, we get their information off of their SOI tab. I always make a new tab down here and I call it mail merge. Okay, so again down here the plus, you can add another tab on there. And to rename it, you just again click the name. The reason I make a mail merge tab is because people and your guys' SOI, that is the heart of your business. That is the money maker. And I never want to F with it on someone else's sphere. I don't want to be responsible for accidentally deleting a name or copying, I don't want that. So I don't do the mail merge on the main page. I do it on the mail merge tab just to be safe. So if I was going to do that, and I think what I'll do is actually open an SOI just so you can see someone who wouldn't mind. Erin's in Windsor. She might mind, but she's not here to defend herself. I'm sorry, Erin, if you're watching this. So this morning we just made a mail merge tab, okay? So this is her agent SOI. And I created this new tab with just her first names and emails, because that's all you need for a mail merge. Because I don't like, again, to mess with the SOI tab, okay? So that's an example. So back to, let's say this is my SOI, okay? So I'll rename this one SOI. What I'll do is I will copy and paste, okay, over to my mail merge tab. And then I'll delete the columns I don't want. You can keep them in, it really doesn't matter. But for me, I'm more of a visual person. I like everything to be clean. And I know that for the mail merge purpose, you only need the first name and the email. So I just get rid of everything else. Okay, so given name, first name, and email is all that you need. So again, when we do the mail merge, and you'll see it happen, a lot of the time you entered the email wrong and it will show that it bounced. It will tell you it bounced. And people will update the email here and then they'll update the email in the SOI. Don't do that. Just update it in the SOI under their contact, because again, as you're meeting more people, you're only adding them to your SOI. So every time you do a mail merge, you should just copy and paste the names and emails over to your mail merge tab. Wipe it out, do it again. You don't need to be double dipping. You don't need to be updating on.
So you mean we shouldn't do the SOI, we should just do the updating and mail merge?
No, you should only do it in the SOI.
And it automatically?
No, you just copy and paste it every time.
Okay.
Because you'll be meeting new people, right? Every time, and hopefully you'll add them to your SOI tab. And so every time you do a mail merge, no sense of just going back and fixing those. Just do it once on your SOI, then copy and paste them over. Okay? So you have your Excel sheet and you make a mail merge tab. So for this example, now that I've showed you how to copy and paste, I'm actually just going to use you guys as the mail merge, okay? So, and sometimes I do this. This is an easy way to add people as well to a spreadsheet. So I'm just going to go to contacts here. And I'm going to make a new group here called mail merge session. I actually want to show you guys what I'm doing, so I'm going to add you guys to, all right, so Marjan. I want to add you to, I feel like that's going to take a while. All right, so we have Marjan. Marjan, which email do you use?
LePage.ca.
Okay. Mike, you use your Gmail one, eh?
Yep.
And Joe, your LePage one. Jessica, your Pike group one.
Yes.
What is that one?
Jessica at the pikegroup.ca. It's the
There it is, yeah. Okay. And Alex, what's yours? Is it just Alex?
No, Alexandra.
Alexandra. Okay. Michelle, is yours at the Pike group?
I use both, so.
Okay. Chris?
I use both, so let's use the Royal Page one. Chris Musial at Royal Page does.
Okay, popped up. Lynn's?
The agent assistance one, I guess. Do you have that one?
Yeah. Yeah, right here. Kathy?
It's C. Mary.
What?
C. Mary.
The Gmail one, or?
Yeah.
What else do I have? Share. Oh, Stephanie, you're.
under Ashley Patterson, the team one.
Yeah.
Oh, it still comes up Lindsay. I changed that.
Okay.
You can't get
Really, Katrina.
What?
What about me?
You want to get it too, Awesome?
Of course, why not? Skip me like
Okay. I don't think this is going to work out the way I want it to. It's just going to go into one. Okay. All right, so let's move to the next step. So the next step is once you have your mail merge tab, you have the contact set up, you have to set up the email, okay? So there is only one difference with setting up an email for a mail merge, okay? So you create the email the same way you would any other email, except there's no one in the to field, okay? You fill out the subject for you. So for example, the home show tickets, I usually tell people when you're sending a mail merge, don't put the subject real estate related, because people will think that it's, you know, junk or they won't open it. So you always want to do something that's going to catch their attention. So for the home show tickets, even for the home show, I suggested that people put tickets for you, or some people put free tickets, right? So, and everyone's interested in that. So I'll say tickets for you. And then for the body, Luckily, I already have it written. So you write the body of the email. Personally, what I like to do is I like to usually add a graphic into the body of the email. So I'll Google an image or something like that. It's just me personally. You don't have to do this. But I had gone online and I just Googled the home show.
Images?
Yeah, so it's saved in my downloads here. See if I can find it. So for example, what I did is I did 2019 Ideal Home Show. And then I clicked into the website. And I actually just took a screenshot of this for people. So you could just go to images as well. You don't have to do an image, but I just prefer, depending on what it is, especially if it's a holiday or something. And what's great about images is that if you have a PDF, then you have to, the client has to click into it to open the attachment. But with a JPEG, if you have a photo like this, you can see how I just drag and dropped it in and it's embedded right in the email. They don't have to click anything. So that's a little trick. So I could have clicked attachments and attached that image that way. But if you just simply open up where it is and drop it in, and you can do this on a Mac or a PC, then what happens then, again, it's embedded right in there. There's nothing they have to click to open, which I always think is the better way to go. Some things are too large. If it's an article or something like that, the image may not come out good, but if it's a something smaller, it's always best to export your PDF into a JPEG or a PNG so you can just drop it into the body. Okay?
Sorry.
Yep.
Can you back up? Okay, so I took the screenshot. How are you, it's not an attachment. Are you pasting it? How did you?
Nope, so you just
Drag and
open,
drop.
yeah, so
Drag and drop from the
you
desktop?
open where it is. So mine was in the desktop, but if it was in your downloads, for example,
Mine's on my desktop, so
so you open up your Finder
yeah.
and click Desktop, and then you grab this file
Yeah.
and you click and hold, and the drop files here will come up.
Okay.
Try it and see.
Well, my screen doesn't look like that anymore.
Your screen doesn't?
Yeah, so I've got this up, and then I'm hitting my Finder. It's clicking
Yeah,
up here.
because you're in full screen mode
Okay.
in your other one here. So you can get out of full screen
Okay.
by going like that.
Okay.
Oh, that's not it, sorry. So then if you open, oh, that is your Finder.
Yeah.
And you find that file.
Is that it? No, that's not it.
I don't know where the file is, yours. Screenshot.
Sorry.
Right here, what time is it?
It's-
One, right here.
Right there.
So then you can just drag and drop.
Ah.
And then it just plugs right in there.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
So yeah, so if you, instead of clicking the attachment, you drag and drop, it'll be embedded right in your email. So the only difference for a mail merge email, besides having no recipients, is in order for it to be personalized, you need to, up here, you have two chevrons on the left, and you name the column that you want to pull in. Okay, so for example, on here, on this sheet that I did, the name of the column is given name. Okay, so I want to pull in people's given names. So I have to put given name in here. If that column said first name, I'd have to put first name in there. If it said name, I'd have to put name. And it has to be, the capitalization has to be the same, everything needs to be the same. So whatever column you want to pull in, so again, I'll go back. So you have to put the name of the column that you want to personalize. Okay? So 2 chevrons on the left, 2 chevrons on the right to close it out. And don't forget the space between high and those chevrons. Okay? So any questions on that? Yep.
Does it matter if your column has 2 first names? So Mel's, for instance, a lot of them say Pat and Darlene, Brian, and that can't be?
No, that can. So it will say, hi, Pat and Darlene. Whatever is in there is what will come out.
Okay.
So I usually recommend to people, go through and make sure that those names are reading the way you want. Because I find a lot of the time when we take a second look, people put their last name there by an accident, right? So it might say Amber Culp all in one field, and then the last name's there too, or sometimes it's not capitalized and you don't want that either, right, for people's names. So just take a second peek through and make sure that the names are how you want them to be.
So it's a good idea to clean up your database before you go through
Yeah.
and make sure about things like this, right? It's always a good idea.
Yeah. It's always a good idea. I always say to people though, what's the very worst thing that can happen? Usually when I do this exercise, people will be like, okay, wait, let me just go through and make sure, it's the people I want. And we'll start with 120 people. We'll end up at 70. They'll chop down like half, because they'll be like, oh no, this person won't want to go to the home show, or that person. And again, you have to remember, it's all about keeping your name top of mind, right? That's why you're doing these things, not the point that they'll go to the home show, right? Just to keep your name top of mind. So when I did this the other day with someone who had never done it before, they've never done a mail merge. We sent it to 150 people, and she had 35 tickets, people asking for tickets. She got 2 listing appointments out of it and 1 buyer lead. And it was just people who said, oh my gosh, thanks so much for reaching out, because someone at my work mentioned that they were thinking of buying and I've been wanting to give them your card, but I wanted to ask you first, is that okay? That person would have forgotten all about it had she not just reached out about the home show. And they're not even interested in going in the home show, right? So again, it's just to keep your name top of mind. So basically every event that we have here too, I always recommend just blanket everyone, because it's just to keep your name top of mind. And for events and free stuff, that's how you show people you care, right? There's a time comes in the year where you don't have much going on that you have to actually ask for the business, which is okay, right? So take an opportunity to reach out to people just on a genuine basis to say, hey, come to this great Easter event. If you have any family in town, I'd love to see you there, right? Or do you have any recommendations on this? Or can you take a look at my newsletter and give me some feedback? Even though the feedback they're gonna give, you can't really change much of it, right? However, you're still reaching out and asking people to engage back.
The best case scenario is that you offer them a free ticket, they accept the free ticket, they end up not going but still get the benefit of the good feeling from getting the ticket, and then you don't have to pay for it.
Exactly.
Best case scenario.
Sorry to be so crass, but
It's true.
Send it out even if you think they
And I think one thing that was really important in the verbiage of this too, that I've started to realize more and more, is that typically when you send these mail merges or even invitations to stuff, you always say, well, let me know if you can attend, have a great day, right? But this time we put in, the home show will be the 29th to 31st. Are you around that weekend? Question mark, right? So that automatically, for me, if I was receiving that email, I would feel obligated to respond and answer that question. Whereas if you said to me, hey, let me know if you can attend and I'll find a way to get the tickets to you, I would then put it on my list, go home and talk to Matt, tell myself, okay, well, there's something else going on, but if I can go, I'll let them know, and then I'll forget, right? But if you're asking that person directly and I know this person is waiting for a response, then I'll keep it on red until I can answer.
Sorry, Katrina, I gotta go.
That's okay, Marjan. You're welcome. Okay? So now the email is ready to roll. Okay? So now we're going to send it. So does anyone have the email done and they actually want to send it to a database?
Did you send the script yet?
No, it's right here. Are you going to send it for your database?
Yeah, once I get this script.
Okay. Is your database ready to go, Michelle?
It is, because you and I have done a mail merge in the past.
Perfect. So can we use yours as an example?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So I'm just going to send this to Michelle. Okay, so, and I'm going to disconnect here. So Michelle, I'm going to take your laptop if you don't mind. Thank you.
So that was from the last one.
Yeah, perfect. So this will be a great example, actually. And you're signed into your LePage one too, right?
I am. You should see, I think,
Is this one it? Yeah.
two different tabs.
Perfect. Yep.
One of them is my Pike group and one of them.
Yes, here. Okay. So Michelle, we're going to send, for the example, we'll send it from Michelle's, okay? So her database is there, and this will be a great example. So I forwarded this to her, okay? And for you guys, I'm going to send you the Word document, so you'll just have to copy and paste it. However, if I forwarded you something, okay, for images that are embedded, never in copy and paste them, because I find when you send them out again from a forward like that, it has a little X across the picture. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you get those emails. So if it's forward, I always download, so I'll download this here.
I did put it in the, if you see the ticket.
Oh, perfect.
I put my own
Okay,
as well.
awesome. So, oh, the body's not in there. Okay, so I'm just going to delete this just for the example, okay? So I'm going to compose an email. Okay, so we have the email. The subject, I'm going to make tickets for you. You want to click where you want the image to show up. So I'm going to make two spaces there, and then drag and drop the file, and we're good to go. Okay? So
The column was named first name, not given name.
yeah, so I noticed that. So that's a good point. So you can see she has first name as the column header. So I actually have to go back. If we sent that out, it would look just like this. It would say hi given name, okay? So we're gonna change that given name to first, okay? So when you exit out of here, that actually saves it. And it goes right into your drafts. Okay, so if you need to edit it, you can just go into your drafts. So the email's done, okay? So here's another point. So Michelle's done a mail merge before. You know that because it has the merge status. Every time you do a mail merge, you delete this column. Otherwise, the spreadsheet will recognize that you've done one and think that you've already done it. So you just delete that merge status column because it will create a new one, okay, for your mail merge. The status column will tell you if the email's right, if it bounced, if people responded. It basically summarizes your mail merge. So when you go to do it again, just delete that column or else it'll think you've done it. Does that make sense?
So that status column will also tell you if they've opened the email.
Yes.
So that's golden.
Yeah, and we'll see it happen here in a second. Okay, so I delete that column. Yes, so to do it again, Yan, yep, you're just going to delete the column, okay? So again, otherwise it'll just think you've already sent it. So we deleted the merge status column. So you click on the tab that you want to do the mail merge on, which is the mail merge tab. And we're going to go to add-ons, yet another mail merge, and I have these instructions that I'll send to you as well. And start mail merge. So it'll ask for your permission, yes. So you just click the account to give yourself permission and allow this app to run. So sender name, okay, so hers auto-populated, but you put your name in there obviously. If you're doing it on behalf of someone else, their name. And then your email template. So you can see it's pulled in, that's the one we sent, I think, Michelle, the first one. So for email templates, it actually pulls in every draft that you have saved, but your most recent goes to the top. Okay, so you can see up here, tickets for you. That's the one we created. And we know that because of the subject name. Okay, so sender name, email template. Any questions on that?
What happens if that's not your screen that comes up first? I have this add-on makes use of your column headers, row 1 of sheet, and then there's a drop down that says email 1, save or cancel.
Let's look.
I didn't save you, crazy.
Ooh, no, it's okay. Yeah, so for Lindsay's screen, here, can you pass me this?
Yeah, absolutely.
For Lindsay's screen, because she's never done it, this came up. It says recipients column, so it's asking you, who do you want to receive them? Do you want it to be the first name or do you want it to be the emails? You want it to be the email column because those are, so basically it's just telling you to tell the system who are you sending it to. So the recipients column is emails. So you click save.
Sorry, I don't actually have the add-on.
Same here.
Click save.
So I'm wondering which one to do, mail merge with attachments?
Yeah, so that's where your Royal LePage email comes in because it's already pre-downloaded. So if you go through Royal LePage, they've bought it, it's there.
Okay.
If you go through your regular Gmail, you have to go into the marketplace and download yet another mail merge.
Okay.
So for a lot of people who use a different Gmail, it doesn't matter. They're like, well, I never use my Royal LePage email, but that one's forwarded to the other one. So we'll just go into the Royal LePage one just to do the mail merge because the responses will just be forwarded to the other one.
Okay.
Right?
That does make sense. I just
Yeah.
don't remember my Royal LePage.
The email and password, same as your RLP network username and password.
Okay. I did bring that.
So now we have it set up, but always, 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 and I can't stress this enough, do a test email to yourself because that's going to tell you if it's actually looking good. So we'll do a test and it pulls in the very first person on that spreadsheet. Okay, so now it says check your inbox. So now if we go back to Michelle's inbox. Okay. Hi Charlotte, I hope you're having a good day. Just reaching out with an invitation to the upcoming Spring Ideal Home Show because I have tickets to give away and I thought I'd check to see if you wanted to go. This is Atlantic Canada's largest home show with over 200 booths available. There'll be a wide range of exhibitors with everything from basic home improvements and maintenance projects to major renovations and new construction. You can find some more information here. The home show will be March 29th to 31st. Are you around that weekend? Let me know if you'd like some tickets and I'll find a way to get them to you. Talk to you soon. And that's it, right? So sounds good, no spelling mistakes. the names coming through, but people are always like, oh, why Charlotte? It's because it's the very first person on her spreadsheet. It just pulls that in, okay? So that looks great. So any changes you want to make, Michelle?
That sounds perfect.
Okay. So now if we go back, it'll say send 66 emails. And see, automatically this is checked. Track emails open, clicked, or bounced. You want to make sure that's checked. That creates that summary column. So if I click this, it's always the most nerve-wracking moment. So you have to keep it open until they're all sent. Okay? If you close it, it will stop sending. So you just leave it open and let them run.
Drum roll.
Yeah. But it will tell you right away too afterwards. It's quite good at the tracking, which is great. So I'll show you that as well. So it's halfway through. And again, it really is, it's a numbers game. So if you want more responses, you need more people in there, right?
What happens if somebody's email does bounce? Where do you update it? Just on that same spreadsheet?
I would recommend doing it on the master one because
But then how does that email get sent out to that person?
you would have to, so that draft still lives in the draft.
Yeah.
So I just tell people just use that draft, copy and paste it, and send it on a one-off.
Oh, okay.
Because then you'd have to do it over again, right?
It's a really great way to see how your SOI is working for you as well. So who's engaging with you on your actual SOI,
Mm-hmm.
whether or not they respond to you.
All right, so all emails have been sent. The tracking report, so she's already had 2 emails opened. Okay, we can see no recipient. Obviously, there's no email in there, so that's why it tells us this. Okay, we can see that Chrissy, not going to try and pronounce that last name, has opened it. Okay, she has 2 that have bounced. Well, Ashley Kerr doesn't have one. Same here, so really that should read no recipient. Not sure.
I just deleted those.
Oh,
so
there.
it could be because
There you go. So maybe last minute change. Okay, so it will show you the tracking. One thing about the tracking is that I find it very good in the time you have this open, right after you've sent it. But after you exit out, log out of your email, go back in, I find it not as accurate with the report. Like you can keep refreshing it and it will pop up. So if you wanted to get that back up again and it was exited out, you just go to add-ons, yet another mail merge, and open tracking report. Okay, and it will pop back up here. So you can see her open rate keeps climbing. But it really only took a second to send, right? So now, Lynn's, if we go back in here to her drafts, you can see that draft still lives there, right? It doesn't go away even though we've sent it. So if you had some people that it bounced, you could just redo the email, send them as the one-offs. I just want to show you though, and why it's so important to do the test, because if I change that back to given name, if we hadn't have noticed that, and we did the test, oops.
So would you send like a couple mail merges a month? Like,
No.
One if there's a holiday, one if there's an event, like just, that's a great way to stay top of mind, like once a month, isn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't do a couple a month though. In my opinion, your touches, you really want to make sure that it's all encompassing for personal touch, you know, email touch, phone, in person. So 3 emails in 1 month is probably a little bit of an overkill.
Yeah.
And you also want to have a good excuse every time you send it. So, you know, I like to call it sort of what's your item of value going to be, right? So, you know, for holidays though, one time I did a mail merge and he's been in the business over 11 years and he'd never put a database together. And so finally he said, okay, you know what, Katrina, I'll meet with you. You can tell me what you want me to do. So I got him to put together a database. I think he had 60 people on there, and Mother's Day was coming up. That was the only thing I could think of as the item of value. So we sent out a Mother's Day mail merge. Really simple, got the little Mother's Day picture, plugged that in there and said, you know, went out to everyone, but it would have been like, hey Katrina, just want to take a moment and wish all the mothers, aunts, cousins. I basically named everyone I could because I didn't know if everyone would be mothers on that list. A very happy Mother's Day and hope you guys will enjoy the weekend. One of the things I've committed to doing this year is staying in touch better with my friends, family, clients. So with that being said, hope everything is well and chat soon. So he sent that to just over 60 people, and I'm not even lying with this, but the very first response he got was someone who said, oh, it's so great to hear from you. I was actually wondering if you could come do a CMA on our house. We're thinking of listing again. And I was like jumping off the wall and I'm like, it doesn't always happen like this. And he was like, what do you mean? He's like, open that up. And he's like, you mean to tell me all of this shit that you've been telling me to do actually works? And I'm like, not usually like this, but yes, it does. And again, it's just to keep your name top of mind. So when I did this over the past 2 weeks with people, I had people frantically emailing me being like, okay, I have had a bunch of responses, now what? You know, where do they get the tickets or how do they pick them up? And I'm like, that's all you guys, right? So again, if you have 50 people want tickets, you might want to just put them in envelopes, put their name on it, and tell them to pick it up from the office, right? And coordinate it that way. So, Michelle, it says Colleen responded. I don't know if you...
Oh, okay.
Can we look at it? See, so like this person responded, thanks so much for thinking of me. We'll be in Cape Breton. So she's already starting to get responses, right? This is my very favorite part. Try and hold off signing out just to see those couple of responses coming in. Because people, what? Yeah, you know, it's exciting, right? See who responds and see what people have to talk about. So even for, like, when's the last time you've talked to Colleen?
Probably 2 weeks ago with my aunt.
Okay, it's her aunt, right? But for some of these people, they may not be able to go, but you still get to build that rapport and get back in touch with them, okay?
Well, we got 2 pieces of data recently that, number one, people are looking at about between 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon for a distraction from work.
Oh, for Ema? Thanks,
and
Michelle.
that people are more social in the afternoon around that time. So this is a great time to send those pieces out.
Yeah, there you go. You know, and I totally believe that because in the morning you're answering, you know, your work emails and you're being productive, and then after lunch you get a bit more tired and, you know, it starts to go downhill from there. So again, you know, mail merges are awesome. They've been super successful for the agents that I work with. And again, if they don't have time to do a pop by or if they don't have time to deliver the invitations, that we'll send a mail merge instead. But you always want to do it when you have a good excuse to do it, right? But again, I'd recommend you want to make sure the touches that you're doing to your database is not all email, right? You want to work in the one-on-one time, and you want to work in the note cards and the emails and the phone calls, right? And this is a great excuse even to get the calls in. So you send the email, and if you notice some people haven't even opened it, you can call and say, hey, you know, I sent you an email ask me if you wanted home show tickets. I don't want to drop the ball in case you are interested, but just want to make sure I have your updated email. Or if you don't have people's emails, right, it's a great conversation to say, hey, I'm offering free home show tickets and I thought of you, but noticed I didn't have your email. Did you want to send it to me and I'll send on the information? Right, that's a lot easier conversation than, hey, can I get your email for my newsletter? People are like, nope, right? So if you have a good excuse like this, right, or if you're asking for people's address so you can send them a hard copy invitation to our upcoming Easter event, that's a lot easier of a conversation than just, you know, blasting people for your real estate stuff. Okay? So any questions on the mail merge process?
Yep. On her spreadsheet, she has written in for emails if there's a husband and a wife. She has an ampersand in there. Should I be taking all those out and putting in a comma?
What is that, like an end?
That's the end. Yeah.
No, that will work fine, yeah.
Okay.
So whatever is in the first name as the contact, it will read word for word.
But it will send out to both emails?
No, it will only send out to whatever email is in that email column.
Yeah, but so she has two.
Email 1 and email 2?
No, in the same column, she
Oh,
has
that-
saying email
Yeah.
and email.
That won't work.
So it just has to be one or the other, it can't be both?
Right, like you could put Matt and Kat in my email and then another contact Matt and Kat in his email if you wanted to address them both.
Okay.
Right, and people do have this question a lot because for couples, they might have even an email 1 column and an email 2 column. You can't have 2 different columns for the mail merge. So I'll usually just copy the second email underneath with that person's name and then send it to both sides. Or even just one. Because I'm like, you know, if someone emailed me and said, hey, Matt and Kat, wouldn't bother me. I wouldn't even think twice about it, right? I just think they're emailing us both with the invitation. So,
They're all like that.
yeah.
So I should almost have like maybe a sheet that is specifically
For mail merges?
For mail merges, but
Yeah.
I have them broken out like that because
It has been a topic of discussion, I do talk about mouse.
Yes.
Even on our SOI, we were talking about separating them as
SOI
well.
is a piece of SO.
We're working on it.
That's why it's not
You're on
ready.
camera.
I know. She knows it.
I'd put in a second.
Like just another sheet to have it broken out. Okay.
All right, so any other questions on this process?
You'll be sending out the step-by-step how to do it?
Yeah, so again, you know, you have to have the first names and emails into a Google Sheet. Then the next step is you compose the email with the chevrons, the sideway hats on both sides of the column you want to pull in, and then always do a test. Okay, so I will send the step-by-step. And again, if you have a different Gmail that's not your Royal LePage, that's okay, but I recommend you have to do it from your Royal LePage pretty much, or else you'll have to pay for it, right? So that's an add-on that Royal LePage has paid for. So even if you don't use it, sign in, send it through there, and the responses will be forwarded to your other email anyway. So it hasn't been an issue for people, other than not remembering their username and password too. Yeah, which we can reset. Yeah.
How can I delete this column only?
Yeah, so to delete a column, so see that little arrow? Yeah, you can delete column. Right there. Okay? Okay, so I think I have you all in marked down. Yeah, so I have everyone who came, and I'll send the scripts and I'll send the step-by-step on how to do the mail merge too. Okay? All right, thanks guys.